Hi, Jan Chakowski here with my plans and pans for this week. Well, this is Labor Day weekend. The first Monday in September is designated as that day. Grover Cleveland in 1894, I'll make sure, signed it into law at a time when there was a lot of labor strife. Not that there always hasn't been some difficulties for workers to be able to organize, actually, including now. But this is a time when we want to celebrate working people. We know that particularly we want to say thank you to all the frontline workers, some of whom may be working, in fact, on Labor Day, and helping to keep us safe and to keep the wheels turning in our communities. We want to thank all those who are working in challenging situations, people who are working in healthcare, who have to go out every day wondering if they're going to have the protective gear that they need to keep them safe. So we thank all those workers, and then we acknowledge all the people in our country right now, the millions who are hoping they will be workers. That is, that they've lost their job, they are, if they are lucky enough now to have unemployment insurance to keep them going. But I know that almost all of them, every one of them, wants to have a job, and let's try and build an economy, certainly next year, that puts people back to work. So I had a very interesting meeting yesterday with students from Niles North High School. They started virtual classrooms on the 27th of August, all of it virtual, and that's what our meeting was, with their teacher, Mr. Sharma. He was actually a Golden Apple teacher, meaning he's incredible. And these were some sophomores, juniors, and seniors. I was interested to see how the COVID pandemic had been affecting them, and they were very clear about their feelings. It was really great to see all them want to express their feelings. I would say that number one most frequent comment that they made, they were really, really missing interaction with their friends and their teachers. Being isolated at home, there were a couple of students who were in, they were runners, and there were these running teams at school, and they were able to be close to some of them. But otherwise, aside from that sport, it's been really, really difficult for them. One student said he found it hard to stay motivated, and several others just talked about the pain in their families, about the unemployment, the uncertainty, the fear. In fact, a couple of them talked about having, one mentioned mental health issues, just trying to cope with what their families were facing and what they were all facing. Not all the students are able to participate, and that is because they don't have the technology in their home, although the school district has done its best to provide it. But you know, if you've got a couple of kids in the family and they all at once need to be online, these are situations that are very, very hard to manage. We know there's actually some statistics that the distance learning, the virtual classrooms, that our students are losing some educational opportunities. And not surprisingly, the least for white students, and more for the Hispanic students, and even more for African American students. And so we all want our kids to get back to school. The question is, how can we do it safely? And it's just so disappointing that the President of the United States has actually said he was going to hold back much of the money that would go to schools unless they do it in person. And we know that some school districts have tried that, and some school districts have had to pull back from in-person learning because there was an uptick in the number of COVID cases. So this is a problem. And of course, our teachers, a significant number of them say that they have some underlying health conditions. And it's a real problem. What we need now are actually more teachers when we open up, because we want to keep our kids distancing somewhat, and we're going to need more space. And so this is a very trying situation for parents, for students, for school districts alike, to make the best of it right now. We just saw on the news today of a coronavirus outbreak at the University of Illinois, I believe in Champaign, 700 cases reported. And that's a lot of cases. And I did hear on the radio that the university was going to be doing some crackdown on parties that people were having, bars that they were going to, and making sure that all the sororities and fraternities were living up to what they're supposed to be doing. And that is being safe, because otherwise, what happens, it ends up that the schools end up going virtual only, and I think the University of Illinois is trying right now at least to avoid that. I wanted to tell you about things that Donald Trump has done. I want to give you a quote. This week, the president said, "You are so lucky to have me as your president," as he was extolling the stock market increases. Now, let's be clear. The stock market and its ups and downs are not the real economy. And while people who have stocks, I'm sure you're happy that that they're going up, but that doesn't mean that all is well in the economy, or certainly that all is well in our country. He went to Kenosha this week. Now, we've had a particular problem an issue that is so dear to my heart. Jacob Blake, who I told you last week is really a son of Evanston, Illinois, where I live, shot 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha. And of course, there were a lot of demonstrations, including some really brilliant and soothing words by Jacob Blake's mother, who said, look at your hand, they're different colors, but all of us are important and deserve equal treatment. Donald Trump didn't go there with that kind of message. He went there never meeting with the parents, never mentioning Jacob Blake, meeting with the police officers. And this week he said somehow the police officer probably clutched, like you do in golf when you miss, whatever you call it, when you miss a stroke. And really, it's like choking in golf, when he choked and shot someone 7 times. So Vice President Joe Biden went to Kenosha today. He actually spoke to Jacob Blake on the telephone in the hospital. And earlier in the day, he met with Jacob's family, and I'm sure offered them the comfort we know he's so good at. And then he spoke at a church also in Kenosha, and his message was one of unity and all of us coming together and stopping the bigotry that we see in our country and the systemic racism, and all messages of comfort and unity. Wanted to tell you that we are still seeing a lot of outbreaks in schools, and we know that health officials in Illinois on Thursday announced 1,360 new cases, 25 additional fatalities. So I think we've been kind of on a real plateau here, and hopefully we're going to see that, that turnaround pretty soon. Here I am with the census again, and the reason it's so important is that the president, because of his actions, actually cut the ability to get enrolled in the census to the end of this month, not very long. And so we are counting on all of you to tell your friends and family. Everyone gets counted, regardless of age, regardless of immigration status, whether you're a citizen or not. It is so important. All of the data that is collected about you is locked away. It is a felony to reveal any of the personal information, so don't be afraid. If you have a family that's of mixed status or you are not a citizen yourself, please sign up, because that means how much money is going to come to our community and the distribution nationwide, and how many representatives that you have in the Congress. Also wanted to tell you that it is the 69th day since the President of the United States has not commented on the Russian bounties that are being paid to the Taliban to be used to kill Americans. He just hasn't said anything about it at all. And this is such a serious accusation and a serious report from the intelligence community that we need the president to watch it. We also need the president to acknowledge the role of the Russians in interfering with our elections. It is happening as we speak. He continues to deny that that's the case, and still wants to deny the members of Congress the intelligence information we need to hear about what foreign nations, including Russia, are doing to change our election, to change the election in favor of Donald Trump. So you're going to be getting ballot applications, if you haven't already, to sign up for vote by mail. This is a civic duty to do. You'll be able to vote early, and you'll be able to vote on November 3rd. So please take that blessing of our democracy seriously and make sure that you participate in the election. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. Have a happy Labor Day. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.